Welcome back, my friends, to the Degrade the Hate podcast. I am Wilt from wilksworld.com, and this is episode 10 of the Degrade the Hate podcast. Wow, just thinking about it for a second. Wow, episode 10. 10th regular episode. I know we had a special episode in there for some special circumstances, but 10th week we've been doing the Degrade the Hate podcast, so thank you guys for keeping on coming back. Subscribe, share when you get a chance. But 10th episode of the deratethehate.com podcast, and today we are going to talk about, I think we'll call this yes is easy and no is the right answer, or something to that effect. I haven't decided yet for sure, but every one of us, I'm sure every one of us has been in a situation where whatever we had going on, whatever situation we were facing, somebody asked us to do something, our kids asked us for a toy or something, but we've all been in some situation where the right answer was no, but we almost instinctively said yes. And why is that a problem? There's any number of reasons why that is a problem. As an adult, we have to be fully in control of our actions if we don't want to fight later consequences for those actions that can be bad. So what do I mean? If somebody asks us to do something and we don't have the self-control or self-awareness to tell that person no, and it doesn't matter why we say no. If it's something that we don't want to do, that's fine. If it's something that we don't have time to do, that's fine. If it's something that we don't have the ability to do, that's fine. But a lot of us, we find ourselves in a position where we almost feel like saying no is confrontational or it's being rude. And we then instinctively don't want to be rude or we don't want to be confrontational, so we say yes. And that's because yes is easy. Yes is the nice thing to do, or so we think. So now what we've done is we've committed ourselves to doing something that, like I said, we don't want to do, or we don't have the ability to do, or don't have the time to do. And what happens then? We now have built a situation for ourselves that is a recipe for resentment or a recipe for animosity, and now we've got to do something. I mean, if we have any honor whatsoever, we've now committed to something that we shouldn't really have committed to in the first place. And what it really comes down to is there's nothing wrong with saying no. Oftentimes, no is the right answer. It's very much the right answer. But we say yes, and now we have committed ourselves to a problem situation. So as we dive into this concept a little bit further, I close every show with saying, make every day the day that you want it to be. And I very much mean that, because I very much believe that we as adults are totally, or should be totally, in control of our lives. And we should be making every day the day that we want it to be. So when somebody asks us to do something, and it's something that we don't want to do, but yet we don't want to feel confrontational or rude, and we say yes, now the consequences of that are on us. It's no longer on them, and we shouldn't feel bad about them for asking. It's our actions that we should, and it's our response to that request of theirs that we should feel bad about. And one thing that we'll go into a lot more in this podcast is, not only do we want to derate the hate and turn down the hate that we have towards other people or towards other situations, but a lot of the hate that we're trying to turn down is also self-hate. So a problem that I've had over the course of my life, and it's still a problem that I battle with daily now, is the idea that I am trying to be a people pleaser. I try to solve everything that I encounter. I try to take care of every situation that I encounter. And a lot of times when I am asked to do something, maybe I don't have the time to do it, or maybe I don't want to do it, but I am presented with a request by somebody for something, and naturally my instincts to be that people pleaser kick in and I say yes, when the reality is I probably should have said no. I'm getting much better at that, and the older I get, the better I am at that. But now I have put myself in a situation that I have to now deal with. And that may be a situation that is making me feel guilty towards myself, or making me put off other obligations that I had, because I now have committed myself to a request that I should have simply said no to, or I should have put more thought into, rather than just saying yes automatically. Why is this important when it comes to parenting? As a parent, we have to look at situations. Children don't have the cognitive ability to understand right from wrong in a lot of situations, or they don't have the ability of logic and reason like an adult should have. Now I understand there's a lot of adults out there that have no ability to use logic and reason, and that's a whole nother topic, and we can get into that on wilksopinion.com. But if a child does not have the ability to use logic and reason, we as adults have to be their voice of logic, their voice of reason. So we need to be that person that says no when they're doing something wrong. We need to be that person that says no when they are trying to do something that they should not be doing, because children are very much emotional creatures, and as such, they are going to do things based on emotion and not logic, not reason. So we have to stand in, and we have to be that voice that says, no, don't do this, or no, don't buy that, or no, don't take that from that person, it's not yours. No is a very, very important word as we are raising children. And as adults, we also have to say no to requests that interfere with what we want to do and the direction that we want our life to go, or the direction that we want our day to go. I mean, it doesn't have to be a life-changing situation, but something very simple can be, you have a buddy calls you up, says, hey, I want to go out and do this, and I've already got obligations to do something else, but I don't want to let them down, so my instant reaction is, oh yeah, I'm there. Well, that's maybe an emotional response, and you should probably use the logical response and say, no, I've got to do this, or no, I'm committed to that, or maybe it's just, no, I don't want to do it. But like I said, we oftentimes find ourselves in a situation where we don't want to be perceived as confrontational. We don't want to be perceived as rude. So somebody asks us for a favor, somebody asks us for money, somebody asks us to go out when we shouldn't be going out, whatever the case may be. There's more scenarios that can be brought up for this situation than I could even begin to get into here. But the fact is sometimes no is the right answer and yes is the easy answer. And we as adults have to be adult enough, logical enough to say, hey, no is the answer. Yes is not the right answer. And if you think about it, just think about the different times in your life when you have made that wrong choice, when you have made that wrong choice to say yes when you said no, and it led to animosity. It led to some resentment, not only for the person who made the request, which is then misguided resentment, but that resentment towards yourself, which we end up feeling, we get that feeling of I'm not in control of what I should be in control of. I'm not in control of myself. I've now allowed myself to be guided in a direction that I don't want to go in. So now I feel bad about myself. I probably feel some animosity towards the person who requested it, and it's just a big ball of no good, and it's something that should have been avoided simply by saying no instead of taking the easy route and saying yes, which ultimately ended up not being the easy route, because now I've got to do something that I don't want to do, or something that I can't do, and now I may have to lie to get out of it. Who knows? But anyways, do not do that. Just understand the adult part of us has to step in and say no, even if that non-confrontational, people pleaser, I got to try and make everybody happy person within us says, yes, I'll do this. No. The answer is no. the right answer is no, and we have to get used to that. And the overall reality of this whole situation is the person making the request, if they don't understand and they don't have the ability to get that no from you, if they don't have the ability to understand that, hey, sometimes I'm going to have to say no to you, they probably don't have enough respect for you anyway to for that to mean anything anyway. So, you've got to respect yourself. They've got to respect you. It's a mutual respect situation. There's going to be times where you just have to say no because no is the right answer. And yes, while the yes may be easier, yes is oftentimes the wrong answer. Just get used to saying no. The more you say no, the easier it becomes. The more you're going to respect yourself, the less animosity you're going to have for others, and everybody's going to be much happier in the end. With that said, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm not going to keep this real long. I do want to get into our good deed story of the week, our good news story of the week, our little story, and I had to search hard this week. I'm going to be honest. I had to search through a lot of news articles to find something that made me feel good because there's a lot of doom and gloom media. We are faced with extraordinary times right now, and there's just so much negativity out there. So every week I try to look for a good news story, a positive news story, something that makes me feel good, something I know that's going to make you feel good. And with that, I am going to talk about two young ladies in British Columbia who had a lemonade stand that... Well, they had a lemonade stand, and what they did, they had this chalkboard. It was a beautiful little chalkboard, some pool noodles, very colorful stuff, and they had picked a bunch of flowers right before Mother's Day to give to people who didn't have a Mother's Day gift or whatever the case may be. So they had their little chalkboard next to their lemonade stand, and they set everything set up in their front yard, and they wrote free on the little chalkboard, and they had all the colorful pool noodles. Everything was beautiful, right? And they had the little flowers sitting there on their stand, and somebody misunderstood their message. At least that's the way that it appears. Somebody misunderstood their message. They thought the stuff was just there for free, and somebody came by and kind of hobnobbed the whole thing. They took it all, and which in itself was a very sad story, but what it did was it led to a good story. So these two young gals, their mother and father, they were reaching out via social media, trying to find out, if maybe somebody, if it was a misunderstanding, and maybe they could find out who took the stuff, so maybe the stuff would come back. And instead, what they found was a gentleman who had a construction background, and what he did was built them young ladies a new lemonade stand. So ultimately what happened was young Miel and Aslan, I'm probably saying the names wrong, but Miel and Aslan Tetro from Kelowna, British Columbia, had their lemonade stand taken due to unfortunate circumstances or a misunderstanding. And then a gentleman named of Chris Stanley had a carpentry background, and he reached out to them and ultimately built them a very cool sipster sister kind of lemonade stand. Very neat story. I mean, very simple act of kindness on the part of somebody who was a complete stranger, didn't have to do it, but ultimately it's good people reaching out to good people. The little sisters were trying to do a good deed by providing flowers to people for Mother's Day. Their stuff ended up missing, and Chris Stanley stepped in, saved the day, built them a new lemonade stand. All in all, turned out beautiful. Very cool story. I will put a link to that story in our show notes. And I don't know. It made me feel good. I hope it makes you feel good too. So with that, I'm going to wrap things up and say, when you get a chance to get out there, be kind to one another. Be grateful for everything that you do have. And ultimately, remember, it's up to you to make every day the day that you want it to be. So from all of us here at Wilkes World, I just want to say thank you for listening. Subscribe to us wherever you might get your podcasts. Check us out on Facebook, or just search for us on the web anywhere, different types of social media, whatever the case may be. But anyway, any way that you find us, any support that you give us, we greatly appreciate it. And again, from all of us here at Wilkes World, thank you very much. We'll catch you next time.